Hello, this is again problem 46 in chapter 3 of Donnelly's second edition. In the problem, you are told to compute covariance and correlation coefficient. In in the very first video, I showed you how to do that problem manually. I also showed you how to use Excel, and in this one I'm going to show you some of the features of TIBA2+. Now when you do the calculations manually, obviously you're using your calculator to punch the buttons, but your calculator also has a built-in function to compute correlation coefficient. It does not do covariance, but it does calculate correlation coefficient if you enter the data correctly. So here is the data set. The data is right here, x and y values. And the first thing you do when you want to compute uh, to use the calculator is you need to first clear the display. So you click on clear. And then what you need to do is you need to clear whatever information was saved to memory prior to the work you are doing. So any calculations that you've done before you need to erase. So again, to do that, you must click on second function and then the clear button. Notice how it says clear work on top of it. That's why you engage the second function key. So you use second function and then click on clear, and it clears all the prior work. So again, as I said, here is the actual data values, and what we need to do is we need to start entering the data. So I do second function data. See on above key 7 it says data. So if I use second function and 7, then it takes me to the mode for data entry. Now it says what is the first x value, and the first x value is 4, and then you must push enter and arrow down to go to the next item. For some reason it did not clear all my prior work. So I'm going to do second function clear, second function clear again. And hopefully now we're ready. Okay, so now I'm going to do second function data entry, and the first data value is 4, and I'm going to do enter, arrow down. The next the next question is, what is the first y variable? And that is also 4. So I'm going to do 4, enter, arrow down. X2 is 7, enter, arrow down. 9, enter, arrow down. 2, enter, arrow down. 5, enter, arrow down. 6, enter, arrow down. 5, enter, arrow down. 6, enter, arrow down. And 7, enter, arrow down. So now it's asking me what is the sixth x value. I don't have any, so at this point I'm done entering data, and I go to second function and I click on 8, which above it says stat, so I'm using the statistics function. The very first mode that pops up is LIN, which means linear regression, and that's the one that I want to use. So at this point, if you wanted to go to other applications, you could do second function enter, and that takes you to natural log, to exponential, to power, and to one variable. But I want to be in linear regression. So I'm here, and in order to display the calculations that the calculator has made for me, all I need to do is to arrow down. So click on arrow down, and it says n is equal to 5 because we had 5 paired observations of x and y. Next calculation is 5 is the mean of x values, which we computed here. The next calculation is the standard deviation of x, which, if you remember in manual calculations, we computed 2. The next one is standard deviation for population. If this were a population, the calculator gives you what that entry would be. In this problem, we are told that this is sample data, therefore arrow up. I can show you again that the standard deviation for the sample is 2. The y average is 6 as we computed here, right here. Standard deviation of y, also in the manual calculations I showed you, was 2. If I were to compute the population standard deviation, it would be 1.79 rounded. A is the point of intercept. You will learn this in chapter 8 when we study regression. But this A is the point of intercept or intercept point for the regression equation. B is the slope of the regression equation, which in this case, of course, is the correlation coefficient. And R is the correlation coefficient. By the way, in this case, as it happens that the slope is the same as the correlation coefficient, it doesn't necessarily have to be. We have the correlation coefficient R, which is 0.6875. This is what I calculated for you using manual work. And then x prime is what value you want to enter into the regression equation to make a prediction of y. So at this point, we're not going to talk about this. When you get to chapter 8, you will have plenty of exercises like this. And so the calculator also computes the summation of x values, summation of x squared values, summation of y squared, and the summation of x value times y value. So once some of these are calculations that if you were to use a certain equation, you would need these numbers. And then you're back to where you started. So this is how you can use the TIBA2 Plus for your correlation analysis. Thank you. I hope you found it helpful.